Listen, I don't know about you, but I started a business so I could do this. Travel, be with friends, be with family, create memories. I didn't do it to sit at the computer all day. I didn't do it so that I could just be in countless emails and Zoom meetings. I did it to create opportunities for myself and opportunities for others. So listen, if that's something that interests you, enjoying time with your friends, being out and about, definitely drop by Erica Williams' Classy Climb blog. Check out the YouTube channel. We've got over 2,000 videos of free information that's actually changed people's lives. People actually post their new jobs, their new careers, their new businesses all the time over at the channel.
What's up, everybody? This is your girl Erica from the Classy Climb blog. A little bit of woo-woo today, just a bit. Thank you, Life Beyond the Ring. Our Digital Liberty Warriors class was fire today. If you are in Digital Liberty Warriors, if you're in our school group, the replay should probably be up in about an hour. It should be there, should be rendered already. If not, oh well. I'll let you guys know. It was a great opportunity, great teaching moments on the fly. What's up? If you don't know what we're talking about, check out Digital Liberty Warriors. We teach you how to make money from your palm of your hand, your cell phone. Teach you how to create courses, run Facebook ads, launch your business. It's very interesting. Also have some e-com stuff I'll be sharing after April 15th. So there's a mastermind I go to after that day. What's the other thing I had? I forgot. Top 40 certifications ebook. That's book number 2. Change your life. Okay. 5-day challenge. Check it out. More digital marketing. Again, how do people make $1,000 to $2,000 weekly remote? Digital marketing. They can even start Instagram accounts with no phone number, just the email. Faceless. Use templates, all kind of stuff. But gotta want to upload it. Okay. So again, we're no longer in the convincing business. We've done this on this YouTube channel for 10 years. We've consistently shown growth, progress, events, boat parties. We have a really great intro video I'm waiting on Peter to come back with. Love it. It's Saturday. You see the title, Cut Ruthlessly, Strategic Ego Checks, Sell Us on Abundance. Okay, now that's a lot of titles. You're like, what does that mean? There are only going to be certain type of people looking for that title. You know, I really want to talk about trend surfing reality. I know the woo-woo, and I wanted to talk about flow state. But we are kind of blending them so you can hear it. I know people are like, just talk about money, Erica. Just talk about money. Just talk about money. Just talk about money. And I always want people to understand it's not just talking about money. Why are we making money? What flow state we're in to make the money? What energy state are we in to make the money? We have to understand, where does this come from that we want this abundance? The other day I showed a video. It's not here yet, but thank you. I will thank you. Thank you for the Frappuccino latte. I like a little hazelnut latte myself. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, guys. Noel. But you guys have been in this channel many years. You know it's coming up. I want you guys to understand the power. Some words people hate hearing. Manifestation. Because most people say, oh, I'm manifesting. This is my year. And they don't do anything with it. People hate hearing abundance, alignment. They don't like hearing them because they assume it's woo-woo and it's never going to work. And it's never going to work if you don't get in the right flow state, if you don't pull yourself up, if you don't push that good energy where you need to. And I'm going to show a couple of things. The other day on the video I posted in the comment section, people were saying, I don't want to misquote people, because people will be like, you're misquoting me. You're misgendering me. Let me hold on. Let me make sure I got it right before I say something wrong. Okay. I posted a video the other day on the Austin real estate housing crash. And these were very beautiful homes. And the comments are, they have no character. They're bland. Might as well call it a nice prison compound. Our world has been turning gray with no ownership, overconsumption, and greed. For real. How much is the rent? It's cheaper to own it in that area. It's not, actually. No character, very bland houses. But salute to the investors, realtors, and loan operators making a fortune off the newcomers. So here's what I want you to understand. You got to get an ego check. You got to get an ego check, dude. Clean, safe, functional. Clean, safe, functional. A lot of people are just in outer space. I mean, they're just in outer space. They're an outer space cadet. And this is where you lose me, because these are clean, safe, and functional. Point blank period. These are clean, spacious, functional. Yellows, grays, blues. If you want a colorful zoo farm, you want Argentina, you go live in Argentina. You want a tropical garden, go live in Florida. You want palm trees, go be in Florida. But to be like this is terrible. This is like a prison. That we need you to come back. We need you to come back. Okay? The delusion's at all-time highs. Okay? Some of y'all are in Pluto. At least come back to Mars. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. Make it your own. There was one yard. I don't know if you probably don't see it in the video, but a lady had put all beautiful plants in her yard. It looked very nice. She's definitely going to be staying there a while. She really was decorating. And if you're a person like me who's owned rental properties, the more plants and things you see the person put on, the longer they're going to be there. Even better. We had a distant cousin, maybe it's fourth cousin to me, or third. She had I'm talking about a tropical backyard, tropical front yard. It was crazy. Plants everywhere. She had been there 26 years. It's the story I always tell y'all, that we have the cousin who didn't want to ask us for money. And when the man was dying of cancer, he's like, man, you've been renting for me for 26 years. You want to buy this? You want to buy this for 30K? 35K? Oh, I don't got that kind of money. You've been here 26 years. You don't have no money? No money. Well, my son's going to sell this. So if you change your mind, call me. Man was dead. Within 6 months, she was out of there. Out of there. 26 years gone. And so what y'all are in a delusional state is clean, safe, and functional is what people aspire to. You got to realize when I'm talking to people who move here from other states, they literally are like, oh my God, Texas, it's just so nice. It's clean. It's new stuff. You have people who are coming here from the Midwest where every house is from 1920, 1930, 1950s. And they're just hoping somebody remodeled. You got people moving here from parts of Florida and everywhere they go is moldy and cinder blocks. You got to really understand when people talk like this, I realize they're not in reality. And part of what I talk about townhouses and duplexes is if you're a person who's on a journey to build wealth, you could buy one, stay there 2 years and move on to the next house and rent out both sides. This is a very popular thing. There's a person we're going to be interviewing on the channel. And that was pretty much his strategy, even with young kids. He had full custody of his kids. I know y'all always think no men in the world have custody of their kids. It just can't be possible. He did. He had full custody of 3 children, boys and girls, and bought rental properties. And so when you talk to people, you realize they're the people that are like, I'm manifesting, Erica. What are you manifesting? It's not yet, but thank you. Happy Born Day is coming up. It's coming up very quickly. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate all the wishes. And so you want to talk to people and you want them to understand, wasting time. Right. So let me just show you this. And let me see. And then I'm gonna go to some of the clip videos I have for you. So this is not, I know somebody can be like, I'm 55, Erica, and I feel 25. Y'all do this every time I do this. Every time I talk about ages, I feel like I can do a marathon. I get it. I'm not gonna argue with y'all. Y'all love, getting in this fight with me about your age and how young you feel. And I'm not here to argue with you on that. If you feel 25, great. Whatever you say. Let me make these bigger. Make this real big. Oh, Lord. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Let's make it big. I'm crazy. Let's make it big. Yeah, there we go. So it looks crazy now. But anyway, yeah, it's real crazy. I don't like how it looks now. But anyway, so I talked yesterday. Let me see. Can everybody see this now? Yeah, there we go. We can see it. Okay. I talked yesterday about Gen X is 43 to 59 years old right now. 48% of all 55 to 65-year-old people have nothing saved in retirement. Nothing saved. They get up every day and work. If they have a stroke tomorrow, if they have an accident tomorrow, like, well, shit, bitch, they homeless. Excuse me. Oh, sorry. Didn't mean to say that. They're basically homeless. Okay. They're basically having a rough life. They're basically almost destitute. And there are several books that talks about if you're struggling in your 40s and 50s financially, without major turn or pendulum swing, you will have a very horrible senior living years. Now, many people are going to say, Erica, that's just not true. That's just not true. You know, I know somebody who did this, that. And a lot of times people make fun of people in the military and police and all this stuff because they had this very young, structured years. But they basically did a swap. They took their young, structured, full of energy years, gave it to the government, and now they're on their second pension, right? Most of the people in Washington, D.C. and at these government GS position jobs, they're on their second, third pension, right? And unfortunately, when you talk to them, like, they gonna coast because they've already set up 20 to 40. 20 to 40, they locked in a pension. My mom, for the rest of her life, will make over 100K a year every year for the rest of her life. The military is gonna pay for her for like 30 plus years. At this rate, maybe 40, you know, because she takes very good care of herself. And what I don't think people understand is coasting only works if you push the cart uphill early. You know, dead fish don't float upstream. Dead fish float what? Downstream. You see these numbers I have on here, you know, people are going to say, Erica, why is it like this? Why you got the carrying us? Because 20 to 30, you have people, I used to work 2-3 jobs, run around, go to the club at night, go to sleep on 4 hours of sleep. They get up and do it again, right? Just craziness. I have, you know, just a little snapshot of me if you're new to the channel. I had a coffee shop. I had a film festival in my hometown. I literally traveled. I hiked. I was on a hiking team. I used to rock climb walls. I was super, super fit, super active. And over a 5-year window of owning the coffee shop and doing kind of life with someone I was with at that time, I couldn't really do it anymore. I couldn't really hike for really long roads. I couldn't rock climb the walls much anymore. And this past month, I've basically been going to a rock climbing place here in Austin, Texas, just trying to wake back up the arm strength. You know what I mean? And what happens is in these phases of life, or what I call seasons, you'll have a 2-3 year window where stuff can be rough, stuff can suck, you know, or life is a real massive change, right? I get on the phone with a lot of you that you know, started to get certifications, you started to do different things, right? And it's going to be a 2-year window of push. It just is. It's not going to be, hey, I'm gonna do this in 6 months. Everything's gonna be magical. I'm gonna make millions of dollars in a year. It's actually a system to all this stuff that I talk about. And part of it is bending reality, which I don't want to go too crazy off it. But what happens is the number one age people invest, which I really wanted to write on the board, is 35 to 55. What happens 35 to 55? 35 to 55, you get a wake-up call. You know, I know you guys are like, I'm 50 and I got the body of a 20-year-old. Sure, whatever you tell me, Bob. 35 to 55, your parents start getting older. People start dying. Work sucks. You don't want to be at that office that long. You have experience and they put people younger than you over you. I have a friend right now in his 50s and he's pissed there's a 30-year-old over him. And I just go, that's life. Do you want to chase that ladder? If you want to chase the manager ladder, you're going into your 50s and 60s chasing a manager ladder. And when you're in management in your 60s, they're going to let you go. It's much better for you to work where you are needed as a technical person than try to go chase the manager thing. Now, he didn't like that answer. Why did he not like that answer? Because the truth is there are, in corporate America, not private life, but in corporate America, there are seasons where you ebb and flow. There are seasons when you hop on the train of something, right? When someone tells me they're 35 and they want to be a doctor, I go, no problem. You know, I go, how old are your kids? How long you been married? And are you ready to be a zombie for the next 7 years? Because that's what's about to happen. Because I've met people in their 20s who went to medical school and they were zombies the whole time in their 20s. We would come over their house. They'd be half asleep, half awake. Their wife done had a baby. She cleaning, she cooking, she having cookouts. You know what I'm saying? Like, So if you're telling me at 35 to 45, you want to go be a doctor, baby, commit to the zombie time, right? If you're 35, 45, 55, you tell me you want to be a nurse, I'm going to tell you yes, only because nursing is such a high shortage. And on top of that, I've seen nurses when I go to hospital be damn 80 years old, sitting up in them desks. I'm like, who is she nursing? Is she administrative? What does she do? I've seen them on night shifts. I have an aunt who's retired 3 different times and they still beg her to come back. She's like, I'm in my 60s. I don't want to lift a person. I don't want to touch a person. They're like, you ain't got to. Just come work the night shift again. Right? And I want you to know there's some careers and skills that as you get older, you need them. You'll always have some money. You'll always have a position. You'll always have some play. You just won't have that energy. You won't listen. When I talk to my mom, I'll be like, girl, did you take a nap? Oh, yes, girl. Like every day she take a nap. I'm starting to get now where I'm like, ooh, I think I need a nap. Uh-oh, I think it's catching me. And I tell my friends, I'm like, I used to have friends tell me, oh, you don't take naps? I'm like, no, I don't take a nap. What do you need a nap for? But now it's starting to catch me. It's starting to catch me a little. And so what I tell people is there are certain times in life where we chase something. And then there's sometimes we have to be strategic ego cuts. We have to have strategic ego cuts. Okay, I'm this old. If I do this over the next 20 years, this is truthfully what it will look like. I'm not here to cut your dreams down. I'm not here to cut your manifestation away. You know, I get calls all the time from people who, hey, Erica, I'm on my 3rd car. I done rolled over the car payment so many times. I'm in a high number of debt. What should I do? And I just go, okay, are you ready to let that go? Are you ready to let go of that car fantasy? Are you ready to let go of driving what people want to see you in? Are you done? Because sometimes you got to be done, right? You have to kind of manage where you are. Simplicity means freedom, you guys. Hold on a second. Oh, that's some good tea. Hold on. Oh, that's real good. Okay. Simplicity means freedom. And simplicity means acknowledging ebbs and flows of our body. Now, let me go ahead and show you this. Somebody's going to be like, oh, here we go with this, with the woo-woo. I'm so sorry, but I'm going to give you the woo-woo because it's true. It's true. And we have people waking up to the woo-woo. I'm going to give you some nice woo-woo, then I'm going to give you some harsh woo-woo. Okay, here we go. Let me make sure.
Women, on the other hand, have a 28-day hormonal cycle that changes with the 28-day cycle of the moon. Men are meant to work hard in the morning and around lunchtime and relax later in the day. Women are meant to sync their activities to where they are within their 28-day cycle and vary their activities widely day to day. The 9-to-5 work life is built for men's solar cycle, not women's lunar one. Men are solar and women are lunar. Men have a 24-hour testosterone cycle, which peaks in the morning and declines throughout the day. Women, on the other hand, have a 28-day hormonal cycle that changes with the 28-day cycle of the moon. Men are meant to work hard in the morning.
Okay, why did I play that for you? Somebody's gonna be like, oh my God, Erica, come on. No, seriously, men are solar. A lot of the tests that we have on society, on cortisol, anxiety, the reason every time you go to a doctor and you're a woman, they're like, oh, you just got anxiety. Most of the tests they did were on men. Why are most offices cold in the United States? Because they came in and did a bunch of tests in the 50s on who? Men. What did men wear in the 50s in the office? Full suits, jacket, button up, undershirt, pants, high socks, and shoes. So when we're still basing how we run offices, AC units, on 50-year-old studies of men in full suits. So they're like, yeah, it's not cold in here. What do you ask me? It's freezing. Like you'll see nonstop women going, it's freezing. I'm freezing to death. They got a blanket on at the office. This is why so many women like part-time work. Right now in America, the average person in America right now is working 33 hours a week, 33.5. Just updated by not the GDP survey. What survey is that? I wrote it down. But it's essentially a survey that sends surveys out to management and companies on their payroll. The average American ain't even doing 40 hours, y'all. Right? They're just not. And so this is why when we have this argument about why are you as a man working less when your testosterone recycles every day, right? Women are meant to work sporadically. Part of why I talk to y'all so hard about seasons is the reason I know in 90 days everybody's brain is going to shut off for the summer, right? That's right. Men are always warm nature, if people don't know that. But it is a whole study on it from the 1950s. So what happens is a lot of women want to have teaching jobs, not because they like children, because they want the summer off. Why do some women like nursing? They rather go in, do every other day, 12 hours, go home, be with their family, do what they want to do. Same with cops, same with firefighters. Spirit, it's like this. It's like, it's cyclical. It's like they get breaks. You have to acknowledge your body. And so what happens is you have a lot of people when they get to their 30s and 40s, men and women, men are starting to be like, I got a lot of skills. I don't have to listen to this guy. I can run my own thing, spend more time with my wife, be at home. I just don't have to listen to them. Women are very security focused, but there's a problem there. Why are we, and I know y'all gonna be cussing me out, why are you having children if you're gonna leave me at daycare? I know, how dare you? I got two rough ones. Here we go. I know you're just so excited for rough woo-woo, but it's true. You guys have to hear, like, you have to challenge these concepts. Because again, I'm not here to convince you. I just want you to think about it.
People who you are not related to and people that you don't even know. How are parents okay with this? How are you okay with these people seeing the first steps your child takes, the first words they say? And trust me, when those people say, oh no, they haven't walked yet, they haven't talked yet, they're lying to you. Like, they have. Almost all of them, they have. They just don't want to rob that innocence from you. When I say parents, I'm kind of talking to the men here, the fathers, because I know a lot of women would much rather raise their own children and not take them to daycare and be there for every special moment. So I'm talking to the men, to the fathers. How are you okay with your children being raised by other people you don't know? The fact that a lot of you are okay mentally with putting a down payment on a truck or a boat while simultaneously knowing that you could use that money to allow their mother to stay home and raise them instead, like how you can do that and still feel okay with yourself and sleep well at night, I don't understand it. How come no one talks about how insane the idea of daycare or
So this is Jay Lou. You can go look him up. He essentially grew up poor. Mom was on food stamps, sold a business at 28. It's really interesting. He has an interesting journey. You can go look at it for yourself. And one of the things I like what he says, and he has some videos where they're very spicy. He talks about how insulting it is when you make a ton of money and you tell your family comes to ask you, oh my God, he said, just lie to your family. Don't ever tell them you have me. Tell them the car payment's crazy. Tell them bills are high. Tell them everything but, right? And I agree with this. Like today, one of my aunts tried to say, well, some of us work for a living. I said, oh, you do? And I don't. Okay. Right? All choices. She's the only aunt that didn't do any kind of like college additional training or a pension related field. Only aunt. Everybody else got their pensions and good to go. And so you just laugh because it's all choices. It's all choices. She can look at all 5 of her sisters and go, man, I could have made some better choices. All choices. And what people have to understand is when people say, Erica, people can't afford retirement, people can't afford a house. No, what people can't afford is these cars. That's all. It's literally cars. It's literally when you talk to people and they're paying $600, $500, $800, $900. They're in cars. When people say, oh, Erica, we can't afford for just one woman to stay home. If your man makes $5,000 a month, I'm just saying 5,000, that's $60K a year. That's the argument we're all arguing about, right? The 50-50 stuff. You may say you make $60K a year. If your rent is $2,000, why is your wife going to work? Why is your wife going to work if you make $5,000 to $6,000 a month? There's no reason. If there's a baby. Now you may say, Erica, ain't no baby, she need to go to work. Okay, cool. That's a whole nother argument. I'm talking about if you have a baby and you make $5,000 to $6,000. There's no reason. Now people are going to say, Erica, but to have the baby cost all these thousands of dollars, to do this cost all this money. If you have no car, No new car payment. You have you didn't go crazy on credit cards for baby stuff because people will give it to you, lots of it. People love giving people. Only thing you're gonna go crazy on is Pampers. Everybody I know is like, please just give us Pampers. Stop giving us damn clothes. Give us Pampers. And formula, right? If you literally just do the math, and no disrespect, why is your wife working? Now people say, Eric, I live in a expensive city. I live in New York. I live here. I live there. Okay, cool. We can split hairs on it. But if you add up the cost of daycare, 9 times out of 10, daycare is $3,000 a month. The average woman in America makes $40,000 to $45,000. Average married woman in America makes $55,000 to $60,000. So if the daycare is $3,000 and the baby got to go for a whole year, what was the point of her working? That's her whole check after taxes. That's her whole check, y'all. Some stuff is just a math. It's just math. And it's like, if you just don't trust that person, I'd rather you say that than
Raise your children. Make memories with your children rather than you or their mother because you want shiny toys. Don't even come at me with in this economy, both people have to work. No, that's not true. Both people have to work if you need to pay for daycare. But if you don't need to pay for daycare, one income can do it. And if the father's income, single income, doesn't cover it, you're living outside your means. You're buying things you can't afford. You're doing things other than advancing your career and finding a way to make more money. This, like everything else in life, is a skill issue. If you're a man and you think you need your woman to work or that you need her income, that is a skill issue. I will not allow anyone on social media to gaslight me or anyone else into believing that you need a dual income household. It is not true. It never will be. If your wife works, I just want to let you know, as a man, you have failed. Now, it's one thing to both be working towards a life where you can allow her to not work and you're just on your way there, but it's a whole nother thing to want your wife to work, which a ton of you on this platform do, and I don't understand it. Shame on all of you guys who make your wife go back to work after having a child. You make her go on maternity leave, enjoy all of the positive things of being a stay-at-home mother, and then make her go back to work. Why? Just so you can afford a few more toys? Oh, so you can afford your truck? So you can afford another boat? That's why? That's why you have her work? Come on. You're going to have other people raise your children, make memories with your children rather than you or their mother because you want shiny toys? Don't even come at me with in this economy, both people have to work. No, that's not true. Both people have to work if you need to pay for daycare. But if you don't need to pay for daycare, one income can do it.
Now people are gonna say, Erica, but insurance, Erica, the insurance for the baby is insurance. And the baby, okay. I get it. Again, let's talk about it. Why would you be a single mom in New York? For real. You can't afford it. Now, I want to I want to understand, like, Erica, things happen for sure. Let me tell you something. And there's no disrespect. I've never met a woman with stuff going on that just accidentally got pregnant. I've never once in my life have I met like a nurse, somebody doing stuff. You know, you got to go country ASAP, right? I've never met somebody who has stuff going on in their life that was like, oops, I fell down and got pregnant. Just magically. Just oopsie, fell down pregnant. That's not realistic. It's not realistic. That's why when I saw Anthony, I think it's Edwards, the basketball player, all the women were over 30 and he's 22. They're like, shame on him for having sex raw. He can have a baby. All these women are over 30. They know how babies are made. Again, these women know where these basketball players go lounge at, go sit at, go eat dinner at. This isn't an accident. Not after 30. My grandparents used to say, after 25, we all know how babies are made. Come on now. All right? So when people start getting to these, stuff happen. Oopsies. At this point now, we have to do what? We have to be honest with ourselves that this is not the best scenario. You know what I'm saying? You don't got to stay in New York City. You can go an hour north of New York. You can go live in Buffalo. I just want you to understand, when people tell me, like, they're always going to be a but. And honestly, when people want to be a single mom, if you don't have a mother, cousins, family helping you, it's going to be rough. It's going to be rough. Daycare was the biggest expense. I had a part-time nanny for a while. It was cheaper. Without daycare, kids are not expensive. Thank you. I just want people to understand, like, you know, we got to slay the sacred dragons here. Why are we not making decisions? You know, let me stop. I know where I want to go with that, but let me stop. I'm gonna show you this one. You knew I was gonna say Buffalo? Anywhere. Snag it off, whatever that place is up north. Ohio is cheap until we can move to Texas. Never made financial sense for my wife to work when the kids were younger. It's cheaper to be at home. Yeah. Cheaper to be at home. Less frustration. They can cook. You know, all kind of stuff. Right? The woman I know that has a child out of wedlock at my church, she's an engineer who made $190,000 for like 10 years in a row. And then
unit that we should aspire to. The only time
stay home, what do you call it? Maternity leave for like 6 months. And then was working remote here in Austin. So you know, some people, like, I feel like she knew what she was doing because she was 40. She know how babies are made. And so when I meet her, I'm like, okay, you know what you were doing. You wanted that. And that's fine. Everybody makes decisions. But we also have to ebb and flow ourselves into a business or a life that makes sense. So let me play this.
Down the street. They weren't even high rises. There weren't like offices and cubicles where men spent their 8, 9, 10 plus hours of lonely existence typing away at computers. It didn't exist. The same thing is not healthy for a woman to do. It's absolutely not healthy for a mother of young children to do. That is a very modern construct. That is not traditional, my friends. The husband would work from home. The wife would also work from home. They'd often work together. The kids would often work with them. And the amount of time they spent separate was much less than the amount of time they spent together. All right, so what is the solution, you might be asking? A man is provider, woman is a stay-at-home mom. That's a modern idea. That is not a traditional idea, my friends. Husband goes to work, kisses his wife in the morning, takes his briefcase, walks off, comes back home for dinner. Mother is around the house doing householdish things and the kids, and then that is the traditional nuclear family unit that we should aspire to. The only time in history when that has happened really started in the 1940s. That is a consequence of technological and industrial changes that happened because of technology, especially in the Western world. But you go back before 1940, and that's not how it went down. There was something called the Household Economic Project. Usually there was agrarian societies or these small towns and communities. Certain households had certain specialized kinds of labor, if not farming, where they were maybe the blacksmith, maybe they were the shoemaker, whatever. The husband would not grab a briefcase at 8
All right. I'm not gonna play it 5,000 times. I like Lila Rose. She's funny. What you have is you're having a clash of reality, right? You have these people coming online, they're crying about debt, they're crying, oh my God, we can't afford houses, we can't afford this, that. And you ask them, have you looked an hour outside of town? Well, why would I want to live out there? Because that's where you really need to be. That's where you can afford to live, is an hour outside of town. Yeah, I know. That's just not what nobody wants to hear. But a lot of people, those are always how. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, she makes big money. She was able to stay home for 6 months. And even she said she struggled because she felt like her, you know, brain, she couldn't focus on work. Baby. I seen a video that breaks it down for Black people. Send it to me right now. Admin at classicclimbtx.com. Maybe I can grab it and show it. And the reason I bring this up is, even if you look at Black families, let's be really honest, you'll see these Black ladies move back in with grandma or aunties or cousins to help with this one kid. And then, oh, she's working to help take care of the kid. No, she's not. She's working to get out of this house with these older people that are telling her, why you have this baby out of wedlock? That's crazy. Because I know too many people who are like, oh, I'm working to save up money to do what? Move out of here from my parents and go where? I know a white family right now just going to go there. Their daughter was in the middle of a divorce, pregnant. And they thought, okay, well, it's a pandemic. You can come here with us. Okay, we're going to take care of you for a little bit, get you back on your feet. She's still there today. That was 2020. It's 2025. 5 years later. 5 years later. And her other siblings are pissed. They're like, what the? Mom, Dad, y'all let her stay? And the dad is like, well, it's so expensive out here. It's expensive if she tries to live in the same neighborhood as y'all. It's expensive if she tries to live on that side of Houston. Heck yeah. That's Cyprus. That's a little bit expensive. And so when you're talking to people, this isn't a black-white issue. This is just a numbers issue. All right? It doesn't make a lot of sense if you don't make a plan. And this is all into that whole flow state. This isn't changing your vibration, changing who you're around. What you do some days and what you do every day. You have to really, part of some of these influencers you guys are making fun of all the time, several of them bought a house in 2020 and literally they're chilling. Some of these stock market folks bought a house, chilling. The key in this economy is asset-based. And so I know everybody's like, just talk about money, Erica. Why are you always talking about other stuff on this channel? Because if you don't have a reason why you make the money, if you don't know where you're going, a lot of people work very, very hard. I'm talking about very hard. And then they look up and go, Erica, I worked hard my whole life. I've been doing A, B, and C. I work really hard. And you're like, but were you in the right vehicle? Were you doing the right things? Did you have any investments? Right? Again, this is why Southern folks that live on a piece of land, can have a trailer, and then other cousins can move their trailer. Most people can put on one piece of land because they have land. Yeah. There's many ways I can go with this conversation. I know a couple in a wealthy neighborhood that has their kid and partner and their grandkid in the house, but them kids are mooching, not contributing. This is very common. Very common. Lots of mooching, right? That's why when I tell y'all, when y'all get on the phone with me and I have people, I've literally been on the phone with people who were paying for their mother and their sister a place to live in Metro Atlanta. And I said, you can't afford to do that. You got to stop. Well, it's better than them coming to live with me. I said, no, they gotta get up and put their big panties on and go to work. They got to do it. They got to do it. And so what's happening is, I know many of you won't say no. I already know a lot of you will not say no. So it would be better if that woman, instead of paying her sister or mom's rent, bought a house. Y'all better figure it out. Y'all better both live there and get over it and figure it out. Figure it out. Multi-generational housing is a thing. It just is. It's a thing. People that live in multi-generational housing, the grandparents live longer, the kids are happier. I think the middle parent lives longer. All that stuff. Everybody does well. I agree with him. If she's your wife and you care about her, you want her to chill out. Yeah. I mean, right now, heart attack, strokes, and other used to be men-related diseases are happening nonstop in women. And people are like, well, why are these women in their 30s and 35 having heart attacks and strokes? Oh my gosh. It's because they're working too hard. They're overworking. They don't know that's not how the body goes. Let me see this clip he sent me. Let's see what it's talking about here.
A more ideal dating model than traditional for Black people, because the traditional dating system was built on white wealth and government handouts that excluded us, right? So this means regardless of what we pick, 50-50, 100-0, none of those are going to work because Black people experience economic theft, unpaid labor, and social instability at higher rates. So we need a system that prioritizes fairness, stability, and collective power in a relationship. So I call this the Black legacy model. It's a framework designed to counteract systemic barriers, redistribute labor fairly, and build generational wealth for us, because Black love can't thrive under a system that wasn't made for us. So here's the first core pillar: financial partnership. It's not who pays what. Here's why the traditional model fails. Black men have been locked out of wealth building, right? Redlining, mass incarceration, job discrimination, and Black women had to work and run households, double labor with no recognition, and that wasn't sustainable, right? White couples succeed because they inherit assets. Black people often inherit struggle. Here's where the legacy model fixes it. Income-based contributions. Whoever makes more pays more without resentment, period. That's the end of that discussion. Economic flexibility. If one partner is in career building mode, the other one provides stability, but the goal is long-term balance, right? Asset accumulation over consumption, right? Stop the paycheck to paycheck cycle, prioritize home ownership, investments in life insurance, but financial transparency and education. Talk about money openly. No more financial secrets or struggling in silence, right? No one should feel like a provider or a burden. We are building together, right? This is a building together. The second pillar is the redistribution of labor, fairness over gender roles, right? Here's why the traditional roles fail Black couples. Black women do more unpaid labor, housework, childcare, emotional labor, even when they work full time. Black men are expected to financially provide even when the system puts them at a disadvantage, right? That kind of creates an emotional tension. But here's how the Black legacy model resolves this. Labor is shared, not assigned by gender. If you live there, you clean there. If you eat, you cook sometimes. Emotional labor is recognized and reciprocated, right? So if she listens to your struggles, listen to hers. If he needs reassurance, give it too. It really is just about helping each other. No one partner is overworked while the other coasts. Balance is what creates longevity. It is not your feelings. Right. And this is also another thing, that childcare is a partnership, not a favor. A father isn't a babysitter. He's an equal parent. We got to start actually just talking about the level of accountability we need to have given how far we've, gotten. The third pillar is community and family investment. This is the village approach, right? Here's where the American model failed us. White families accumulate wealth through generational support, right? Inheritance, business connections, housing assistance, right? But Black couples are expected to do everything alone, often while supporting extended family, right? The reverse. Here's how we fix this. Okay, family and community support. Raising kids ain't just on the parents, grandparents, aunties, and trusted friends contribute. Group economies, pulling money for investments, real estate and business ventures, right? Elder and childcare strategies. Instead of relying on expensive outside help, Black families can create in-home support systems, right? If we move like a community, we stop struggling like individuals. If we move like a community, we'll stop struggling like individuals. Do you get it? And here's the fourth pillar: career and business flexibility, wealth over wages. Here's why 9 to 5 keeps us stuck, right? Black people are paid less for the same work, promoted slower, and less likely to inherit the business, right? We have the work till you die mentality, and it keeps Black men and women exhausted with no long-term gain. Here's the truth, right? Instead of just working jobs, Black couples should build businesses and assets together, right? Skill-based labor sharing. If one person is great at managing money and the other person is great at networking, both contribute in ways that build wealth. Career growth without straining the relationship. One partner should never feel like their dreams are a financial risk to the family. That should never happen. A Black couple should be a wealth building team, right? Not just two people trying to pay bills together, right? But not every city supports Black couples equally. Okay, so some places have better opportunities, lower costs, more Black wealth potential, right? So Atlanta, Charlotte, Houston, DC, Detroit, you got options. Like you can actually pull this off, right? But there are some cities that are really bad for Black couples to try to develop in and resist systemic barriers, like New York, San Francisco, LA, Boston. The environment you build in matters, right? Choose a city that allows you to thrive, not survive, because Black couples aren't surviving, right? Like we can talk about how Black couples aren't thriving, but if I point at a dead animal on the side of the road and complain that he's not thriving, what were my expectations? So here's the final blueprint, how the Black legacy model works in action. Build an economic partnership first, right? Romance second. Money stress kills relationships. Get on the same page financially early, right? Balance labor fairly. No one should be overworked. Household chores, childcare, emotional labor should be distributed, not dumped on one person. Create financial safety nets, life insurance, emergency savings, multiple streams of income. This is just to avoid survival mode, right? Like, this is just so y'all calm down. Ownership, entrepreneurship, and group economics keep us struggling forever, right? But we need to prioritize long-term wealth over that short-term struggle and really build a community that supports your relationship. Relationships thrive when they aren't isolated, right? So find like-minded Black couples, invest in networks, create spaces where Black love is nurtured and not drained. Black love is an investment, not just a feeling. And I think that's something our community never considered. They never understood that when you're participating in black and black love, right? And I'm just meaning this from the bottom of my heart. You are investing in the survival of our community, of our ethnic group, of our race, of our journey, of our bloodlines. That's what you're doing. And it's that significant. That's why it's a power move. The American dating model was never built for us. So let's just build one, right? The Black legacy model ensures that both partners gain from the relationship instead of being overworked or used, right? This isn't about who pays the bills. It's about making sure neither of us are struggling, because a black couple really isn't just a love story. It's just a power move.
Okay, whew, that was a lot, but thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. A lot of what he said was common sense. I would hope that you've heard that before. Maybe not everybody has. That's scary if you haven't. I would say this. From years of doing phone calls and years of a lot of stuff, people that make under 60K a year, both of them making under 60K a year, they typically work together. And they get that first house. And now they move it on up, right? When I talk to people who are making over 70 to 150,000 each, sometimes they start working independently, which is scary. A lot of this is just numbers, y'all. When people sit here and go, it's not a good time to buy a house, and I go, their house is going for 280, 250. I showed y'all where, I can't remember what city, south of Atlanta. I forgot the name of the city. Oh, damn. South of Atlanta. Anyway, long story short, south of Atlanta, there were townhouses going for 219. And it's way south of Atlanta. But you can still drive into Atlanta to work. And I was like, 219? You ain't gonna get no cheaper than that. Not within 30 minutes, technically, of Atlanta. 219 is a great deal. But what you end up having is people saying it's too expensive. How is it too expensive? It's expensive to somebody who's making less than 50K a year. Simple as that. 219 a year doesn't let them, a house that's 219 or townhouse doesn't allow them to overly XX drive and party in Atlanta. They're going to have to put a lot of their money into their rent at the townhouse and their light bill. And so what happens is we have a lot of people who are going, unfortunately, in the Black community into their 30s. And again, the median age in the Black community is 33. The median age in the Latino community is 32. This is why you have a lot of this internet conversation on relationships and dating, because the majority of the population is that age, younger. But we really have to let it go that, honestly, it's a math problem. If you're a man and you're like tired of getting fired, you're tired of working with the office politics, blue collar and a trade, or even in tech, as you want to go up in levels in tech, you get away from the BS because people need you. Okay? This is just common sense. I think he was talking to younger folks for sure. I didn't even start to understand it, so I separate myself from those people now. I see them once, maybe twice a year. I get together and say we've been thriving for sure. Erica, I'm good and grown. I was like 25 before I heard stuff like that. My family's all about having a good time, sleeping around. Yikes. Yeah, you got to move around, right? When I meet people who, I make a joke about people not being raised in church, but when I meet people who are like, I never went to church. You're like, what? It's a whole society. Like there's subsects of society all over, right? Like Young Life, all the people I know, they got married young, right out of the church, right out of the college. Young Life is an organization, takes all the young Christian people on missions and trips and takes us to DC and all kind of stuff. Common sense ain't common. It really ain't, though. It really ain't. Because I just say all my uncles cook. I got one uncle that cooks more than my aunt. He likes cooking. So when I hear these like stories of people not being able to cook, I'm just like, your parents failed both of them. Failed the girl and the guy. Yeah. I think men and women resent each other because each thinks the other is coasting or being lazy. Both sides have hardship and are working hard. Ooh, very true. One of my biggest things as I'm approaching later in life, I'm going to say this, is not like a big launch sell-off, but like a consistent like switch. When I hang around women who are 10 years older than me, I look and see what are they doing with their kids, and how do they manage their house, right? You know, we call women home managers, home engineers, and a lot of them have a lot of free time. A lot of free time. A lot of them have gone to the level where they're just managing stuff. Like one woman I know, she manages the 2 rental properties they bought, which was he had a house, she had a house, they moved to a new house together. And she manages them. If they have any issues, they call, you know, they got a water issue, roof issue, whatever. She's the manager of that. And she watches their kids, right? I know one woman who has an e-com store. All her stuff is sitting at Amazon and in TikTok fulfillment. And she doesn't, none of that stuff sits with her or at her house. And she runs that. That's her business. She runs for a couple hours a day and takes care of the kids. If you get around certain type of women, we aren't at certain levels working Hebrew slave hard. That's not what's happening anymore. No. Usually it's a manager role. If you have some type of management role at any company you've worked past, you could do that in your regular everyday life. Or you meet a lot of women who do administrative work remotely. And you're saying, well, Erica, you live in Austin. That's different. It's a bubble. It's just a math problem. It's marriage. Right? So let's say I was back in North Carolina and I had a house for under $180,000. Mortgage ain't gonna be much. It ain't gonna be much. You will not have to work a full-time job to keep that mortgage. And there are $180,000 houses in North Carolina, all over the place. All over the place. Let's say I needed to reduce my income down to like very little. I could move to a very cheap house in North Carolina, an hour out, and then a year or two later move an hour back in. That's all people do all the time. Charlotte and DC are not that expensive. DC is expensive. Let me take that back. But Charlotte is not. If you're living in Monroe, you live in all them edge places of Charlotte, those places are still $200,000. We could do a whole show on that. They're not expensive. Again, this is where you're working. A lot of Black people, again, thank you, Simon, are working in retail, manual labor jobs, hourly service. They're not a plumber. They're not an electrician. These guys are making $60, $80 an hour. They may not work all day, but when they do a service call, they're making $60, $80 an hour. This is where we're going to hope, again, the last 6 years you've seen, okay, in America where Latinos are gaining all this economic wealth, the simplest thing they've done is literally buy homes. 600,000 bought a home, boom, numbers went through the roof. 33% of them bought a investment property, numbers through the roof. What we have here is a lot of Americans who are living in a delusion state. Oh, I don't want those because it doesn't look a certain way. I don't want to be in a starter home. I'm in my 40s. I'm in my 50s. Baby, your life is in starter position. Your life is in starter position. Let's get real. Let's get real. All right? If it wasn't for this good government job, I moved to a cheap house. Hey, finish that pension out. Finish that pension. Stay with it. Stay with it. Let me see. I think I missed it, but essentially that was on my list. Your life is in startup. You know what I'm saying? Your life is in startup mode. What are you talking about? And so there's times when you want to get simplistic. Less is more. But that's after you've determined what's the energy level. Where are you at? If you're 40 and you don't want to do big turnovers, big changes in life, I understand. But when we start talking about, that's crazy. I would say some are, not all. I know plenty of Black women who have I'm not gonna call him a slug, but I'm gonna say a not very useful man at home. I know white women with a not very useful man at home. I don't hang out with these people anymore, but I remember being in my 20s, like, I remember we had a friend, she did not want to have any more children. We're like, we kept asking her, you gotta have more kids, we got more kids. She said, listen, the way this one works and the way he took care of this first kid, I'll never have another kid. They still married to this day. Happily married. Happily married. She just made it very clear in our 20s. The way this man was with this first baby and how he works, I'm not having any more children. I'm done. So some people are making a decision. Again, you should never have more children than you by yourself can handle. If your husband dies, car accident, something happens, you got 7 kids, what's going on? What's going on? That's a lot. That's a lot for anybody, right? So a lot of times when we have these channels, people are like, Erica, just talk money, just talk economics. But a lot of people are chasing things. They don't know why they're chasing them. They haven't sat down and did the internal work. They haven't sat down and kind of had a conversation. And there's a thing they call it grill daddy. They usually call them grill daddy conservatism. Barstool Storage conservatism. It's where, you know, who won the election, right? And it's like really a lot of people who, they may not be super churchy. They may not be super diehard, you know, Republicans, but they just want you to leave their kids alone. They just want less taxes for you, leave their kids alone. Don't tell my kids about Transformers. Don't tell my kids about all this other stuff. Just leave my kids alone. You know what I mean? Hey, stop them. I'm telling you, listen. I'm telling you, to this day, I know a girl. She told us with a straight face, the way this man was with his first baby, I'll never have another. They're still married to this day. Almost 18 years. Very beautiful. Very happy. Very happy. I'm telling you. You already knew what time it was. When he was telling us he wanted to be a chef, and we're like, a chef of your own restaurant? No, I just like cooking. I said, oh, okay. You got that kind of. Okay, cool. Good to know. Good to know. I tell you, I know 3 white ladies when they married the dude they were with. The guy was like, I'm so glad you have a house because I ain't got no money. These white men in tech, debt to their eyeballs, driving brand new trucks. Y'all, people be out here doing craziness. Yeah, she made an informed decision. Their kid is happy. She said they fine. Some people just know. Some people know. You know what I'm saying? People know. There was another factor into me getting a tech. I knew I wanted a family and didn't want them to go to daycare and they would see my face daily. Check and check. There you go. Congratulations. All right. I mean, you know, some people take their vows very seriously. I'm from a military town. There are people whose husbands done cheated 97 times and he came back. They still take him back. You know what I mean? I know toxic stuff. I've seen some toxic stuff. I've seen some real good stuff, right? Real faithful, good people. But I just want you to, everybody don't just dump people just because they don't do what they want. So, you get to choose who you have to surround yourself with. I got to look at my notes, make sure I say the right thing. Choose who you surround yourself with. You can't get anywhere just manifesting. Okay. Change your flow state. There is no failure, just lessons, right? You didn't fail. That just didn't work. Or you were younger and did too much, right? So now you need to just adjust. I always tell people, you're just adjusting fire, right? If you're outside and you know, if you don't shoot this deer, you're not going to eat for the rest of the winter. Guess what you're going to do? You're going to figure out how to shoot that deer. You're going to get real serious. You're going to get real focused. You just got to adjust. And the biggest thing I tell people is when I have so many emails where people are like, I bought a house and I was able to quit a job I hated for 15 years because my mortgage payment was so low. That blew my mind. People are getting up every day going to jobs they hate. People are going places they hate. For what? Right? So change your beliefs about money. Some of the beliefs people have about money and needing money, that's not an abundance mindset. It's not. It's just not. And I get it. Right? Now I'm going to show something political. I know you're like, no, Erica, no politicals, but I got to show you one. Just one. Because this is the tempo that's changing around us. Right? Here we go. Real quick.
People who have taken us into one disaster after another, war in Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, Libya, who have spent much of today on social media attacking Trump. What we're seeing, I think, is a reset of geopolitics, a reset. We're seeing the breakdown of what you might call the international liberal world order, which saw 20, 30 years of one foreign policy disaster after another. And Trump, you know, I was at the inauguration in America, and people around the president are basically saying, you know, they've had enough of that constant interventionism. They've had enough of Europe, by the way, again, maybe a controversial point, but Europe not paying its way on defense. And they've looked to Germany, they've looked to France, they've looked to Italy, they've looked to the UK, and they said, you know, what are you guys doing? You know, take Germany as an example. Germany under the Greens, absolutely bonkers, becoming more dependent upon Russia because of its ridiculous energy policy, becoming more dependent upon China, and then turning around and criticizing Donald Trump when he says we've got to end this war. I mean, I'm sorry, it doesn't make sense anymore. There are two things that need to happen. One is Ukraine obviously needs to be involved in the negotiated settlement. That's obvious. But the second key point is this now has to be a line in the sand. After this negotiated settlement, Europe is going to have to pay to defend itself. We cannot just rely on America, because understandably they're saying, look, we've got China. We've got our problems on the border. We've got to revitalize our economy. So I think for everybody who sat there criticizing Donald Trump, I do think we need to look at ourselves in the mirror and think, actually, are we getting this right here in Europe?
And to the point that
I was looking around social media today, and it struck me that a lot of people who like to start wars are suddenly very angry with one guy who wants.
the pendulum always swings back, y'all. The whole, you know, George Bush, rah, let's go over there. Let's pow, bombed over Baghdad, outcast. That is like, America's like, we older now. Some of it's financial. Some of it, I'm not going to say America's broke, because America could create money out of thin air because we print our own money. We make abundance when we want to, right? Right now, Donald Trump's begging Jerome Powell to lower them interest rates. Jerome Powell's out of there in May. Jerome Powell's out of there in May. So when people sit here and go, Erica, it's going to crash. Everything's going to crash. It's going to crash. Erica. Everything, the stock market's going to crash this year. And it's going to crash. Baby, when Jerome Powell get out of there, you don't think the next person they getting ready to put over there, that they ain't somewhere in the back twisting that person's arms to the sky? Like, if you don't let these rates go down, I'm going to fight you. Jerome Powell got some black in him. I don't care what they say. Name is Jerome, last name Powell. Have you seen his pictures from the 70s? That hair looks real coarse. He ain't gonna let you push him on the way out, but he'll be out of there in May. So I just think a lot of people aren't being realistic. America wants cheap money. They want lower interest rates. A lot of these builders are dropping the interest rates. There's another video I have. I gotta put it up in here. I drove down a whole neighborhood. Sold. Everything was sold. That's why I want y'all to really understand, when you hear this rhetoric, watch what people are doing, not what they're saying. Watch what they're doing. You know, Donald Trump, they're talking about crypto, they pumping and dumping stuff. I'm just gonna say that's what they're doing. His sons, his children, all people are doubling down on real estate. You know, Bill Gates, Oprah buying even more land in Hawaii. The Rock owns a big giant farm in Alabama. I mean, the stuff when it's just like, I just want y'all to understand that, like, cut ruthlessly. Cut the stuff that doesn't serve you. Listen, Jerome Mulatto. We can pull this picture up. You know, one day he gonna come out with a book. I lied this whole time. I was a mulatto. That name is too brown. It's very brown. I'm gonna see if there's a picture of Jerome Powell when he was younger. Yeah, because we need to. Let me see here. This is questionable. Look at this picture. I want you to see this picture. I have questions. That hair is real thick. They had hair gel back then. That hair is awful thick. That nose, I don't know. Maybe Jewish, I don't know. Hair's real thick. Old neighborhood sold, model home still being built. I see it every day. Yeah. Every day. This is an Austin, Texas soccer hat. He is not Caucasian. He an octamaroon. Him and Alex Karp. Look, him and Alex Karp is neck and neck. He could be. Y'all don't know. You know? I just want you to understand, like, when I'm talking about selling you to abundance, all this I want you to understand is, how do you want your years to look? Now I'm gonna show you this thing about Costco and this one other thing. because this is an oxymoron. I don't care what y'all say. I'm gonna show by the hood this. It's pulling a reverse Rachel Dolezal off. You got them bloodlines in them. Okay. Let me pull this up. Do I have it? Costco. Now, what do we talk about Costco? Well, he could be Jewish too, because you have Jerry Seinfeld is a Jerome.
And the
His real name is
hotel.
Jerome.
Costco travel for the win. My girlfriends and I just booked a trip to the Bahamas for my friend's 40th birthday, and we booked it through Costco. We got flights, hotel, and airport transfer at Baha Mar, a nice hotel, for $820 a person. And when I go on booking.com just to book the hotel and I look for those same 3 nights in the same hotel room, it is like $795 a person, just the hotel. Whereas our deal included flights, airport transportation, and the hotel. Costco travel for the win. My girlfriends and I just booked a trip.
Okay, why did I bring that up about Costco? Costco lets you return stuff later. Costco takes stuff years later. Costco wants every dollar out your pocket. Now they offering travel. They've been offering travel. But all these hotels, all these places, they have to sell these empty rooms. And there's always someone like her and her friends who are willing to do what? Put some money into Costco's pocket, $800, and go on a trip. This will be through the rest. If there's a recession and a pandemic, listen, y'all. We already had it. I don't care. I know everybody's like, no. Listen, they're going to come out a couple years from now. They're going to revise the numbers. That we were in a recession. We're done with the recession. Money froze up October 2022. Go back and look at that. Money froze up October 2022. The only people who've been spending money since October 2022 and really October 2023, if you go look at the math, are people who make over $100,000 a year. Majority right now, only spending money is people that make over $250,000 a year. So you like, who's making that? Doctors, lawyers, dentists, plumbers, electricians, welders, lots of people. People. You have a small internet business, you can make that. I do all the time with digital marketing. I got a couple photos where I'm going to be holding up all these awards that I won. I make that all the time. It's not trying to be funny. It's what you do with the money. It's how you invest it. It's how you put it away. Once you learn, okay, money is ever flowing. I can spend money. I can get more money. I just have to be in motion and with purpose and giving value, and value comes back to me. Anyway, let me keep it pushing. Everyone is expecting a 1929 style crash. I keep saying it's going to be the other way. We're going to turn closer to Weimar Republic, hyperinflation. That's why they're getting income and access to super important. I'm telling you, like, if you look back at just regular 1929 depression, the farmers that they didn't push off their land, but the farmers that were in the South and they didn't push them off because they didn't owe the bank anything, not the Oklahoma people, but the South people. They didn't starve. I know this sounds terrible, but they didn't starve. They made do. Like people from Chicago, Detroit, Baltimore, Boston. These were the people in those bread lines. New York. Like what's in the South? That's why they had all those laws against them people hopping on them trains, because they would take the trains and ride south. And I'm looking for work. Keep it moving. You can't stay here. That's what they used to call move along laws. Now, what you're going to see is you just aren't invited. I told y'all this a while ago. You're going to make a decision here. Some people are making it subconsciously, right? I remember talking to this couple and they had sold their house because their kids were grown. So the only reason they even had a house is their kids, right? Their kids are grown. It's just them two. So they got an apartment. They have a brand new truck and the wife has a brand new SUV. So it's not that they didn't want their house. They'd rather have fancy cars and vacations. They have a Harley. They go on nice vacations. They said he thought about buying a boat. I'm like, where are you going to keep it? You live in an apartment. So what you're going to start seeing in our economy is more people who they just can't go. They just can't go on vacation. They just can never afford to. This is why I tell some of y'all, you're going to have to unplug and get an ego check, right? You can't go on YouTube all day and Instagram all day and watch people, look at that person overseas. I wish I could just be overseas. I hate my life. Like, that's ridiculous. It's like people who already live in Florida be complaining about Florida. I met a man on the plane who him and his whole family was moving to Tennessee. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. Where'd y'all come from? Hawaii. They had lived in Hawaii for 20 years. They were tired of it. They were like, we just want seasons. Our son wants to go to college in Tennessee. He's a senior. We're like, do your last year and go to Tennessee, go to school somewhere in Tennessee. And what you have to understand is that people get tired of anything. They get tired of Hawaii, they get tired of Florida, they get tired of California, they get tired of anywhere. Change is good. Change is good. But yes, they are putting their money in land, if you pay attention. Let me go look at travel. I thought they were only good for cruises. Hey now. Costco selling gold. Costco building an apartment. Yeah, Costco doing it all. They are a true monopoly. They're a true monopoly. Don't forget, so-called black people are originals. Listen, I ain't gonna get there. I'm not gonna go there with y'all today. Don't do it. The preppers on YouTube are yelling every day to prepare. The preppers have been on YouTube for 15 years yelling that. You know, one day they may be right? But they've been yelling that for years. It's only when people money get tight do they re-examine their life like, oh, we can't do what we used to do. All these restaurants closing, these are low-end restaurants. These aren't high-end restaurants. When I was sitting at the office, was it 2 years ago? And I looked out the window and I was like, how is this Taco Bell even open? It's like dead. This is how I'm telling y'all. I know it was October 22 when the recession started. October 2022, I looked out that office. It's off Anderson Lane. You guys know where our office is at, so I don't care. You can go by, I don't care, whatever. And I would see the cars now wrapping around Taco Bell. And I was like, they got a special? What's happening? And all of a sudden, October, November, December, January 2023, all just cars wrapped around Taco Bell every other day. And I'm like, oh shit, the economy's changing. The economy's changing. This place has been dead. I've been at this office 2 years. That Taco Bell I thought should be closed because I never got a car there. They've got to be money laundering. Businesses around it have closed. And then all of a sudden, this line's out the door. The economy shift. I'll write it down. I got a couple on my list right now, but I'll write it down. I don't get the new car excitement. I'll write to the wheels fall. Because people learn as you go. I've talked about this before. People want change, but not like deep change. Not like life-changing where they make a lot of money and their family and friends might not be their friends anymore. People understand every increment that they change, they may lose their wife, they may lose their husband. Do you know how many people I've heard on stages say, I made $1 million and my wife filed for divorce because she's like, I don't know who you are. And he's like, I'm just driven. I'm just working hard. I personally know a man whose wife filed for divorce when he made $1 million. And he was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? But you got to realize these people are watching their spouse change aggressively and they're not changing. So instead of just going, how can I stay in tune with this man or stay in tune with this woman and grow and change? They're like, okay, I'm just hit the eject button. I'm out. I remember this lady made, I don't know, maybe $6 million. And she was saying she looked at her husband and she was trying to like convince him of something. And she realized all he wanted to do was ride dirt bikes and go snowboarding. And they lived in California. And she was like, it was like he was frozen at 32 and they were in their 40s. And so she was saying it was one of the hardest things. He didn't want a divorce. He didn't want one. But she eventually was like, 5 years later, she's just like, there's nothing in common. You don't want to grow. You just want to be silly and goofy. Like even their kids were grown at that point and they were like, what's up with that? And so I'm telling you, people do not want real change. Cars make them feel like I'm going through changes, but not a real one, not a deep one, not a social one, not a spiritual one. Las Vegas has move along laws. They should. They should. It does. Your family don't think you special till they see you in front of other people. Just real life. When Walking Dead was out, me and my boyfriend started prepping like crazy. All the food expired on us. When that 2 to 10 year yield inverted, I think, yeah. Think about October 2022. There you go. For sure. But this is what I'm saying, Plumber. A person who is in an abundance mindset, they've got multiple skills. If today you cut their toe off, They can't walk. I'm just saying something random. But they have hand skills. They have phone skills. They have other skills. I have a cousin in a wheelchair. Oh boy, is a customer service person on the phone every day. He drives a pickup truck. We have another family member, unfortunately got shot at 19. He's sitting in the bed depressed. The older person's like, you can get up. You can live a life like me. I'm on the phone. I go on dates. I go out. I drive my own vehicle. Like, you can't just fall over and die. Anything can happen. You can get shot in a drive-by. You can get in a bad car accident. You determine the trajectory of your life. You determine if you're going to get up and keep on walking, or if you're going to do whatever. If you're going to keep on living, you're going to keep on cooking, you're going to keep on doing what you do. You determine that. Listen, I saw Fudd Records. I was like, I ain't never even had a desire to go in there. Man, that's crazy. Went to an investor group meeting in my city and they're getting ready to buy houses. Yeah, they don't care. You buy houses, you don't time the market. You cannot time the market. Stock market or wherever. You're literally buying and selling every day as usual. As usual. Cars are the worst investment. Yeah. I got a friend who took his out the workforce years ago. He said he got tired of her having another man for vacation. She now runs a family business. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm just telling you, like, again, tax liens, tax deeds, all this stuff that they delayed for the 2020 and the pandemic and all that stuff is backed up now. You know, there's something I'm putting inside some of this new training called the urban land grab. You know, I'm just giving it a fancy title, but at the end of the day, I just want you to understand, like, you can decide. Corey, I'm not talking about that tonight. We can say that for another night. Baja Blast, I guess. I don't know. I look over there, I'm like, oh. But I live in Texas, so I even be like, who eats Taco Bell and you live in Texas? You got tacos everywhere. Cheap tacos at that. Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, I don't want to be here too long, but, you know, cut ruthlessly, strategic ego cuts. You know, at the end of the day, if you're a divorced person, start anew. You can start new. You don't have to live with the old rules. You don't have to go hang out with your other divorced friends and they all bitter and stuff. You can go start over, pick new hobbies, do new things. There's a level of millennial, what I call, that's a good one. What have you had to let go while you grow? People. Places I used to eat. People. When I started working on my trainer, I would go, my friends were like, hey, come with us to this place. And I tried to order what I used to order. I couldn't do it. I literally, I was like, I used to eat this? Good gracious. No wonder. You know, you got metabolism when you're younger, but then it's like your metabolism slowing down. You're like, and you don't know? Yeah, that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? People. The habits, right? So I slowly hung out with like what I would call granola people who were like, yo, Erica, you got to come do this yoga. Erica, oh my God, drink this coconut water. Taste this alternative stuff. Oh my God, Erica, taste this vegetarian food. I'd be like, this is terrible. And if I was eating tofu and then I had a surgery and they were like, oh, actually, you shouldn't be eating tofu. It's real bad for you. It gives off estrogen markers. I was like, oh, thanks for telling me. But it started my mind tinkering of like, what are good things for our body? What aren't? And every time you do significant changes, you lose people. They don't go away forever, but you literally aren't going to spend as much time with them. Right? Like people I used to two-step and dance and drink every Friday. Oh my God, I can't even drink a beer now. I can do some wine, but I'm like, beer, I'm like, I can't even do it. As you just grow and change, right? Now, I used to play tennis and I played tennis all throughout high school, did really well, was like number 2 varsity until I moved to a white school and I was like number 9. It is what it is. And a predominantly white school. And I used to get mad in college time because older women would beat me. I'd be like, oh, I'm getting mad. I'm younger, I'm faster. And now, because of life, experience, patience, I see why they beat you, right? They can just see it coming. They've just been doing it for so long. So as I kind of tiptoe back into like rock climbing and tennis and different hobbies and like plane stuff, pilot stuff, when I'm there, they're like, dude, you want to fly a plane? Like, I'm like showing them my little private pilot license. They're like, oh, look at you. You just got to finish your hours. And so you're already talking to different types of people. One of the trainees there that trains people on the plane, he's 25. His father teaches planes, like flight lessons. And he's been doing it since college. So this is all he knows. This is the level he's starting at, is private planes, y'all. And how to make money with private planes. And so sometimes what happens is you have to allow yourself to grow. You have to say, you know what? That's been fun. That's been real. There's some things I do every year annually. And there's just some things I change. And it's one of those really big years to change. And sometimes you have to go by yourself. Right? I tried for the longest to drag my mom to Canada with me. But she had a bad experience in the army in Montreal. Like there was some racism, something happened at a bar fight or something crazy in the 80s. And she's like, I'll never step foot in Canada again. There are racists. And I go to Canada all the time, but I go to Banff, Canada. And I sit in this really beautiful location. I was like, I would love for her to come, but she didn't want to go. But she goes with me to Alaska all the time. We fish, hunt, all that stuff in Alaska. There's just sometimes when you grow, there's just things you have to let go. Like right now, the next couple partnerships I'm doing, I'm not the active CEO. I'm literally just the person putting up the money and being quiet. And we split it 50-50. And people are like, no, I thought you said partnerships are bad. Partnerships are bad when you have no experience. Partnerships are bad when you have no experience because you don't know your role and you don't know what you're supposed to do and what they're supposed to do. When you start getting a little bit of money on reserve that you can say, hey, I'm going to invest this $30K a year with you and I expect 150 to 300,000 to come back. That comes from years of experience. It just does. It just does. So, once you get to that level, you'll see why I always talk about 20,000. You'll see why I always talk about 30,000, how it's such a transformation number. And it's hard for the average person to get there because their limiting beliefs, or if they don't have a skill set that will put that kind of money in their pocket a month. But the good question, great question today. William Council, good one. Did you leave people behind or try to help them? I always try to help people like see. But let me tell you, I'm like my father. If I tell you something and then you don't listen, or like you ask me for advice and then you do the opposite, or you don't listen, you actively don't listen, I'm done. Oh, I'm done. I'm petty done. And as I've gotten older, I'm very much more like my father. I have a cousin to this day. They call me. I mean, I'm talking about I'm spending an hour and 30 minutes on them on the phone. I'm giving them all this advice. They went, ignored my advice, went to this other person, gave this man $10,000. He ripped him off. I said, I could have set you up with a whole business. I could have did A, B, and C. For whatever reason, you did not believe in me. And now you're missing this money. What can I do? Nothing. It's a lesson. It's not failure. It's just a lesson. That man got over on you. You're going to have to get over it. But guess what? They never ask me for nothing else because they know how I am. They know, oh, baby, you can't ask me shit. I had another cousin say, can you please call him? No, they know my rule. I don't play that. If I tell you do opposite, I have nothing else for you. I have another cousin. I told them what to do with some land they inherited. And they do what I said. So they came back, hey, can you help? I said, listen, this is all I can do for you. I can buy the land, but I ain't going to help you because you didn't listen. Some people have to learn that lesson, and you're hurting them by not allowing them to learn the lesson. Listen, I'm going to tell you, I can't tell you the exact specifics, but something happened to me in Austin, and then I got around it. I was like, okay, cool, I'm around it. Then it happened again. I was like, you know what that is? I didn't learn the lesson. Right? And this happens with people. This happens with relationships. This happens with jobs. This happens with money. If you don't learn that lesson, you will learn it again. Stuff on the fall of the desk while I'm talking. There's a Joyce Meyer, and you feel how you feel about her. But Joyce Meyer talks about the kids being in Israel on the desert, right? They're walking. The Jews are walking. It's supposed to be like a 4-day trek. It ended up being 40 years. Why? Because they would not learn a particular lesson. I'm paraphrasing. And so they kept being in the desert. They could have left the desert 40 years ago. But because they would not let go of stuff, they're still there. They're still walking around that mountain, still going around that same thing. We all know people in our life that are 40, 50 years old, still talking about the time somebody did something to them. I remember a lady at one of my aunt's churches. She talks about in the 80s, there was crack. Okay, crack was whack, and it was in the 80s, right? And there was some family member that came down from New York. I know, I'm sorry, New York, I got to do it. Came down from New York, and they didn't realize why she was running from New York, because she had a crack problem. And so they let her stay at the house, and she robbed them. This lady is in her 60s when I was like a kid. What was it, 2000s? I was a teenager. And she was still talking about when this woman robbed her house. This family member from the crack era, this woman has been delivered from the crack, is no longer an addict, has a whole life in New York, is working a job. And this woman is still talking about when her cousin from New York came down and robbed her. Like it was yesterday. You got to understand, people will literally get stuck there and won't let it go. They're not going to learn the lesson. The lesson, she got to let it go. All right. I remember talking to this guy one time, we're at this event, and he was talking about his divorce. And I was like, oh man, that's real sad. I thought he got divorced like last year. I said, well, how long has it been, man? He's like 11 years. You're talking about this like it was yesterday. Man, you got to get up off this horse. You got to go on with your life. It's been 11 years. You're 30 something. You talking about something happening at 22? Man, you got to go on. So sometimes when you stop somebody from a lesson that they're trying to get in life, you're hurting them. You're really hurting them, right? I think I'm super uber smart, and I've taken tests, and they've humbled me a little bit. Like, okay, whoops, you got me there, test. But you got to realize, like, just because you think you're the smartest person don't mean you are. So you help people where you can, but when people don't listen, you go on about your day. They'll know that as you spend less time with them, like out of sight, out of mind. I'll say it like this. There are some people in our life, if you're not in their face, listening to their drama, what's going on with their kids, you're out of sight, out of mind. I travel a lot for business. There was like a 2-3 year window where I traveled like every other weekend in Austin. And I would have some people that, they were like my best friend. They were like, well, I never knew when you were back in town. Well, if I'm the person always going back and forth, wouldn't it make common sense for you to text me, not me to chase you? That doesn't make sense. So some people are out of sight, out of mind. Limiting beliefs, imposter syndrome. Yeah. Whenever somebody tells me they feel like they're suffering imposter syndrome, I'm going to tell you right now what the answer is. Take more action. Oh, Eric, I just don't know. I don't feel like I'm supposed to be here. Yeah. How much action have you taken? I just started. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Whether you think you can or can't, either way, you're right. You already know. You have to categorize them, put them in pockets for sure. And your friend groups can't mix. I got some country music friends. I got some urban Atlanta friends. I got some people. I just don't think they'll mix very well. Tofu, tofu is not good for the O blood. Well, it's also, it has a lot of estrogen markers. It's just not good for us. I worked the third shift. My child never went to daycare. Whew. You got to stop trying to convince people. Because see, this is what's happening. People are watching you. They're watching how you live. They watching how you do things. This summer, let me show you what I'm going to be doing this summer. I'm going to show you. Y'all be like, you're lollygagging. She ain't doing no more videos. It's not that I'm lollygagging. I'm just going to be enjoying my summer. I'm going to be out here. Sunrise. Maybe that plane would never take off. Maybe that dust wouldn't fly dry. Maybe that tumbleweed in me wouldn't leave every other sunrise. Maybe that plane would never take. So many people like, Erica, what? Yeah, I go out here all the time. I just don't post about it. It doesn't seem necessary. But now, this summer, as we adjust, we really pivot. We'll probably show more of it. But yeah, please. When you say 20K, 30K, does that mean saving account, retirement account, me refer? It depends. When you want to do a new project, I always tell people, unless you're going to put 20, 30K on it, It's going to be a slow drag of the project. It's going to be a slow drag. You can always have 20, 30K in your stock account or retirement account because you can take a bank loan against it. A lot. All right. That's a whole nother show. We'll save it for another time. Thanks because of the good stuff. Oh, for sure. Listen, Atlanta folks, G major. A broad lesson is a taught lesson. Better report it as fraud to the bank or something. Hey, good luck. You'll have family call for advice, then get big mad when you give it. Big mad. That's crazy. They were bypassing a person. That's the thing. Christian is how they see you. So I told somebody, I said, I'll probably buy 3 rentals in my hometown. So my family can stop worrying. Do you have retirement? Are you okay? I was like, I have rentals in Detroit and Cleveland. They're like, why would you have anything there? It's just the hood. It's ghetto. And I remember this wealthy guy was telling me that he bought 3 rentals in Florida near his parents. And his parents are always like, our son's doing so good. He's got these rentals in town. And they said they never questioned him again about anything after that. He's like, you don't even care if they make good money off the rentals. He just don't want to be worse. And that's kind of what some wealthy people have to do. They have to do stuff to kind of like shut their family up. Oh, yes, it is. Most of my family have learned the hard way. It don't have to be like that. And it really don't. That's the crazy part. I'm telling you, crack is whack. Crack was whack. Don't threaten me with information or permit. Listen. Okay. I have a brother still talking about a moment when he was 8. There's a black man on YouTube. They kicked him off YouTube. He was talking about prom. And he's in his 50s. They tried to set me up high school prom. They set me up with an ugly chick at high school prom. I'm like, and this is the pinnacle of your life? You keep talking about it. You do. You do. Hey, sometimes it be like that. Kids be lying on you. They be lying on you. Oh, listen, I just keep a good memory of it. I'll be like, okay, cool. Holding a grudge is like drinking poison for sure. It is. I always say it's a lesson. It's like somebody tell me something, they don't listen. I'm like, cool. Noted. I have people in my old neighborhood back in Alabama still talking about high school. I'm like, dude, we're damn near 50 years old. Drake and Party Next Door got a song talking about moving on. Got to do that. Yeah. Out of sight, out of mind, for sure. So when you don't live for it, you're stuck. Yeah. For sure. All right. Listen, you guys, it's your girl, Erica Class Clown Blog. I got to go get my dinner. You guys have been great. You guys have been awesome. Hope this was helpful. A little bit of woo, a little bit of reset your solar calendar if you're a man and reset your monthly if you're a woman. Figure out what season of life you're in. Figure out what do you want the next 10 years to look like. Get a sheet of paper, write it down. Where are the places you want to go? How much do they cost? You got to know. If you don't know, then who else is going to know? Who else is going to do it? Anyway, this is your girl, Erica, ClassCon Blog. Later.
This is David W. Williams, and I'm giving a testimony to Erica Williams and her team. Because of the advertising relationship that we were able to develop, my company had the best month in the month of November for the whole year of 2024. And I'm talking about our sales were 3 or 4 times any other month during that particular year. And I know it's because of the relationship that I had with Erica and how she worked with me as an advertising partner. So now here's the benefit of working with her and her team. She's going to communicate to you what you're going to get as a result of working with her. She's going to over deliver on her value that she's providing, right? And she's not going to do a one-off deal. She's going to really invest in your success because she's really invested in making sure that you're going to get a success story from working with her as an advertising partner. So if you're looking to drive more sales, you're looking to bring in more leads, and you're also looking to get more exposure to what you're doing, you want to reach out to Erica and ask her, can I advertise with you?